Yes, Board. I started the live stream. I just forgot to tell you, so here we are.
Good to be online again with you, Didrik.
Yes, it's always a pleasure. Today we're going to talk about conditional classification bridges. So basically expanding upon the last 3 live streams that we've had, talking about classification bridges and also extending upon the semantic one that we talked about. So today we're going to talk about creating rule sets that you can enforce in your storefront. In example, bundles or pizza configurators is what we're going to show, of course.
Yeah, so basically this is a data pattern, right? Let's see an example where basically relationships comes with rules, right? So we'll start with a very typical example. We've stick to pizza so far. So let's say you're creating a pizza topping configurator, right? The model might look something like this, where you have a product, medium pizza, that has relations to all of the potential toppings, right? So this is exactly the pattern that we had in the initial, the semantic classification bridge, where you want to say or describe what you're relating to. In this case, it's mozzarella, tomato, bacon, pepperoni, etc. But with the conditional classification bridge, it means that when you make one choice, you might require another, or we might exclude another, right? So that once a choice is made, it kind of sets rules for the next choice or the next possible choices. So here we see that if you choose either vegan Parmigiano or vegan mozzarella, it excludes mozzarella, Parmesan, bacon, and pepperoni, because those are not vegan, right? So that's one example of how one might use this. And if we take this to an actual example, so this here is a configurator built on Crystallize, where you can buy a new car for your winter experiences. Here we have a lot of options, right? And obviously there are conditions here. An example here would be if I choose the AMG line, I get a bunch of requirements. Some come with a price, others are just they are required for this to be made as a choice. And I can choose to confirm this, and then I've used this conditional classification bridge in this example to automatically add the other requirements to this configuration option, which it is, right? It's just one option that has set multiple rules here. So, and again, this is this pattern with the beautiful name, conditional classification bridge, where we, in this case, have used exclude, but in the Mercedes example, it's requires, right? So those are typically the two things that you use in this type of pattern. Let's look at another example. We have this configurator, Didrik, where it's basically bikes that you can configure. That's our Hello World product configurator at Crystallize.
Also worth mentioning that this is one of the accelerators that you can get started with if you want to try out conditional classification bridges.
Absolutely. And here we see that we have some options. I can choose, frame color. If I have this frame, I get a limited set of options. So, and here we have basically color matched options, right? So it's options that are available, but only if you choose a particular option for the configuration. So let's stay on the natural leather. And then we see that I'm able to choose this leather bag. But if I'm choosing not to have the rear rack, it kind of also excludes the leather bag, right? Because they're required. And also, if I choose to switch the color, I cannot have the leather bag because it's color matching. So it's design matched from the brand. You're not allowed to choose those color combinations, even if you want. And that's typically what you want to achieve, right? It's if you choose this, you have to choose this, or if you choose the particular option, you cannot choose another. So requires and excludes.
Yeah. So the conditional classification bridge is often, at least in our world, used for configurators. Yeah. And in this case, we have an example, pizza and a bike. But you could apply it to any kind of product that is configurable.
Yeah. It's kind of the foundation, the atomic elements used in building configurators. And let's take a look at, first of all, the editorial experience here. So in Crystallize here, how would this look? So here we have a bicycle, this is the backend to the configurator you just saw, where you basically have the base models. We've chosen the frame color as the base. And here we have some options at the product level, right? So independent on which color you choose, you have these options. And on a particular color variant, so the copper patina, we see that we have defined here what the grip options are, right? So this is basically a semantic classification bridge, right? We've just said, okay, these are the options, the products that or the configuration options that you have for this color variant, which will be
and
different.
Also the ones that the user will see. These are the options that the user can choose from. Yep. The excluding, including is on the option itself.
Yeah. So this is basically it, right? What are the options that I can see if I choose the base variant? So that's the first step, right? But the point of today is the conditional part, right? So remember, this is for relationships that come with rules, basically. So we have here an example with, let's say, the leather saddle, right? So I can go into this option and choose here the natural leather and the saddle, right? It does require the natural grips option for the handlebars, right? So there you have a condition already, and that is what defines the rule for the configuration logic in the front end. And similarly, you have this if you go to wait for it. I think I will do. Let's actually do the saddle, leather bag. Sorry, that's the correct word. Because this is a good example of a requirement where if I want to have the leather bag, remember if I change the color, it was gone. If I remove the rack, it was gone. So this requires actually both to have the rear rack, and it requires a natural leather saddle, and also the same for the grips, because it's color matched, but you can also not purchase it unless you have the rear rack, because that's where it's mounted, right? So here we have 3 requirements for one option, basically. And so this is the editorial experience, right? And you might say, Didrik, well, how do you set up that in Crystallize?
I'm glad you asked, because I know the answer to this. It's in shapes, of course. And a good takeaway is also that here we're just modeling the data. This is what it looks like in the backend, the editorial experience. All the rules need to be enforced in the rule engine that you need to create in the storefront or something. So for the configurator, all the rule set says that, okay, if you choose this, we check Crystallize. What kind of handles can the user buy with this color? These 2. And then we show them to the user.
Yeah. And if we then look at the shapes, what we have here if you start at the product level, because this is where you define the options at the product level, we say that here you can add editorially options from the location accessories, right? That's the saddle, that's the front and rear rack. And then we also allow to have options defined on the variant. So this is the green, the yellow for each color. And basically here we have defined a relation to the paint, but also, more interestingly, the grip and saddle, where you have the relation to an option from the folder grips, and the same relation to options from the folder saddle. So that's what allows you to get these to pop up in the UI, so that you can editorially configure what the options are for the client. But that's not a constraint, right? This is just the options that are available. So if we go further, we can take a look at the leather bag, right? Just as a reminder, we have the leather bag, and here we have the requirements, right? Editorially, I am able to define what it requires. And that goes down to when you're on an option. So it's just a different product we have called option here. And of course, this, if you're configuring a car, it will be, varnishes, interior, rims, things like that. For pizza, toppings. And here we just call it options. And here we set up the rule requires option on the product level on an option, but you can also color match it so that it's on the variant level, so that the blue saddle is matched with the blue grips, for example. So, and this is essentially how you're configuring that in Crystallize, is that you, on the product, defines, okay, these are the options that are available, and then on the options, okay, if you want to choose me, you cannot choose this, or in this case, it requires that you have chosen these options also. So that is basically what you use to build a configurator. It's based usually off of 3. So, okay, these are available choices. These are choices that you cannot make, and these are optional choices, right? So that's typically what you want to set up, and depends on the product type you have, how you want to be granular or not with this. So that's, in essence, the conditional classification bridge. As Didrik said, we have an accelerator with this specific example that you can run for yourself, and you can look at the data and see how the structure is set up, and then imagine how your products can be used in a similar fashion. If you have further questions, of course, join us in our Slack channel. We're there if you want to discuss data modeling. That's something we do quite often, Mr. Didrik. And we will continue this series. The next one will be a topic that we announce in the near future. So
if you want to see that one as well, like and subscribe.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.